people here saw the most recent TV movie for Alienation? Everybody, yeah? Let's begin by introducing our guests. Our first guest has appeared on Airwolf, on Dallas, on Star Trek The Next Generation, where she played Data's love interest. Remember the name of that episode? Very good. Of course, you know her better as Susan Francisco on Alienation. Please welcome Michele Scarabelli. Second guest, let's see here. Boy, I cannot read my own handwriting to save my life, can I? Has just recently shot a show. Oh, good. Wonderful language usage here. And I want to be an actor. Has finished completing a show with Tracy Ullman, which will be airing on HBO here fairly shortly. The show's titled Tracy Takes Off. He has recently, is he still in or just recently did a play called Urban Folktales, which is here locally produced in LA. He also teaches acting, so maybe he can give me a few pointers. But you know him better as Albert Einstein on Alienation. Please welcome Jeff Marcus. Isn't that amazing? Our third guest is currently working on some, looks like 3 films here. One is entitled Where Truth Lies. I'm sure you'll ask him about that one. Midnight Man and The Stranger. He's done a bunch of stuff, but you know him best as George Francisco on Alienation. Please welcome Eric Pierpoint. And our final guest here needs no introduction, so we won't. No, here we go. He, believe it or not, works on the volunteer ski patrol at Mountain High, so you know where to go now. He has just finished doing an ABC Movie of the Week with Patricia Kallenberg from Sisters called Angel Flight Down, and he'll be leaving. Oh no, he's going to be doing that. He's going to be leaving this Friday for Calgary to go do that. Oh, dear me. There goes my career. But you know him best as Matthew Sikes on Alienation. Please welcome Gary Graham.
Oh, this photograph's lovely.
So we'll go ahead and give our guests a few minutes to talk a little bit more about themselves. Can we get a
typical
close-up
actors,
of
we're
that
looking at
there?
ourselves first. Let's see. Is it a good angle? Of course it is.
Oh, actors.
So,
Who talks first?
I don't know. You guys go.
I'm on.
Is this on? Yeah. Okay.
Whoever's on talks. Are you on? I'm not on. Can I use yours?
Well, we'll let them discuss this for a while.
Jeff, would you like to make an opening statement?
How are you doing?
I just came from the gym today. Thank you. Because I wanted to look nice for you all.
You ever notice how when you go on a diet, you gain weight immediately? Gary and I were just talking about that. When we do Alienation, we're always eating, grazing around craft services and drinking lots of cappuccino.
He sounds like Susan Powder. Did you guys hear the good news?
And I hear butter's a fat burner. It's one of the all-time lies of the 20th century.
No, but
news?
seriously, did you guys hear the good news?
About
We're doing more.
We've got a script order for 3. We've got a script order for 3 more, and we are shooting 2 back-to-back. Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny Johnson, who unfortunately can't be here, our executive producer, gave everybody the phone call, and all along the history of Alien Nation is that we'd always get these phone calls, but now something actually happens, so we've labeled ourselves the Cockroach of Science Fiction Show.
What, do we keep
You
coming
cannot
back?
kill us.
Plus, if we turn on the
Die.
lights in the middle of the night, we scamper around and run into things.
Be careful, we may be in your house. We have a great time on the show. I don't know, it's just so much fun. It's sort of like, it's better than a family, really, because you don't have to go home together.
No,
And you get paid
that's
for
true.
it. Much better than
Oh, yeah. And I don't know, I guess it's a miracle we're all still together somehow. Either that or it says a lot for our working patterns.
They were always available. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Michele is available.
This is our life.
But it's a wonderful, God, I don't know, ongoing experience, and it's just great. The fans, gosh, they probably dwindled down to about 16 a few years ago, and now, and there's more here I see now.
They
Yeah.
spawned. We sincerely want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you. We want to thank everybody who hung in there and loved the show and wrote letters and told their friends to watch the show and got on the internet and all that. And,
Was anybody on the internet the other day? You guys were when we were all yakking on that?
I wasn't invited.
Well, we did it on a day we knew you weren't available. That was the first. Did you get the camera thing that sits over the computer so you could see? We had that. They have a camera over the monitor that points at you, and you can see somebody, see who you're talking to.
Really?
Wow.
It's amazing. I just
they
got a
could see us.
VCR.
We couldn't see them.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they could see it. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, they there. I mean, we have a
Oh.
computer.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
We could just ramble on for hours,
Hi.
but if anybody has
Somebody
any
wanna ask
questions...
us
I've got a question.
Let's
Oh,
go
wait,
to-
hey,
I'll go to
what's the
question.
question?
I've got a question.
All right. Is that Sharon over there? Hi, Sharon. Sharon.
Hey, first.
Sharon! Thank God. She borrowed, like, all my scripts 7 years ago. I've never gotten them back. You look great. I'm sorry, go.
Oh, we hate to interrupt you guys.
Okay, first, I'm sure everyone agrees. We're so glad it's back. It's the best show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why do you have an X-Files hat on then and not an Alien Nation hat?
It's not,
Just
well,
kidding.
anyway. All right, look. So, I don't know if you would know, but do you know if the next episodes are written by Andrew Schneider and Diane Frolov?
Frolov? One of them...
One of them.
Ken Johnson has written the one we've already produced last spring called Millennium. We don't have an air date for that one yet, but the three other scripts will be, so far that we know, produced by Harry and Renee Longstreet, who did Body and Soul, along with Andy and Diane. Andy and Diane are writing the second one. We don't know. Ken might write the third one. It depends. We don't know.
If I remember, both Body and Soul and Dark Horizons were written way back when now, are these the first absolutely new ones, or were these conceived back then as well?
New. Yeah. New. Brand new. We think one is sort of a Manchurian Candidate type thing. But I don't want to
Is that
blow
the
it.
first one we're doing?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so with Harry and Renee's. Yeah.
It's,
Am I in that one?
Sure, of course
You're not in it,
all
Jeff.
of them, honey.
It's very sensitive. He's a sensitive.
There was a thread of an idea, but that never developed, that is now being developed for the first one. For that one you just mentioned.
The development is in development.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I would like to say that I thought Alien Nation was the best show on TV when it was on as a regular series. I thought it was a crime that Fox took it off, but it seems like anytime you get a good show on network TV, they cancel it. So
Sometimes,
I'm
yeah.
glad you're back.
Thanks.
And
All right, thank you.
very much glad that you're back.
We can clap for that.
No, it's just a very well-written show. And that's why, and very well, everything was good about it. And as I say, I'm glad you're back. Can you give us any, I love your blooper reel, by the way.
My
That's-
best work.
How do you, what do you mean you love our blooper reel? That gets out to the general
I had
public?
no idea.
Well, we've had it for years.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, yes.
We don't get
It's just a
residuals.
riot. That's one of the best blooper reels I've ever seen, and I've seen quite
For
a
which
few.
movie?
Which one?
No, this was during the series. You know,
Oh,
Christmas
serial.
Are you kidding?
Oh,
No,
listen,
your
we've
Christmas
matured
reel.
since then. You should see the blooper reels of today.
Oh, I'd like to.
Boy, do we bloop.
My best work personally is my screw up, of course.
It is, you know, it's as I say, it's one of the best blooper reels I've ever seen.
Well, Kenny, I don't know where he gets the time. It's not only, writing, producing, directing, and everything, and he does the blooper reels, I don't know, and the man sleeps.
Now, Eric, you were also in another Kenneth Johnson production, weren't you?
Yeah, something called Hot Pursuit.
I remember watching it.
Yeah.
It was a fun show.
Yeah, well, that one was fairly well written, too, so it was canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't have a chance.
So I'm
Yeah,
glad
we
you're back.
all, when we were canceled, it was one of those situations where we were sort of 1 foot on the plane to go to New York to do PR, and then they just yanked the the platform away from us. We all fell down for a while, but it was amazing. I think that Barry Diller just didn't get it, and as Kenny says, it's because our heads look too much like him. And but a lot of shows, a lot of the reviews that we had, Body and Soul, suggested the premature cancellation and kind of called Fox on that. And it wasn't anybody in Fox's doing now. They're all our allies so far that we know. But don't, keep looking behind you.
Beware the Ides of March.
But I think that most of them always wanted the show to be on, but the word from the high was no, but he's gone, so good.
And we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys know, but I've enjoyed the novelizations that come out, and the book dealer told me, well, they were only planning 6, so I was wondering, are they planning more?
There are 8 out right
Oh,
now.
I only have 6.
I only have 5.
I don't have any.
And Gary, did you ever end up getting married?
I haven't read any of them. I don't really read.
No. When you
Just
were
kidding.
at the first convention that was around, I can't remember, was it this hotel or the other one, and you brought in your fiancé. Did you ever tie the knot?
Oh, you mean in
Yes,
real life?
I did. I ended up tying the knot, and yes, I did. And we have a lovely little girl, a 3-year-old daughter, Haley Sue. Thank you.
Now, this is a question for both Gary and Michele, just because I've seen you guys in other things. Now, Gary,
Excuse me.
sorry,
Eric.
guys. Not to make you feel any less valuable.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Let me go for ladies first. So, Michele, I saw you in an episode of Kung Fu, correct?
Shut up. I'm sorry, I missed part of that question. Could you repeat that? Something about Kung Fu?
Yeah, you were in an episode of Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Yes.
What was the connection there? I mean, I've seen different shows, but never as a one-time shot. I'm just not seeing you
What?
in
You want to know about the concept behind Kung Fu?
I know the concept. It's just a matter of how did you get involved in that particular show? That's what I'm wondering.
How did I come to do Kung Fu?
Yes.
Well, the producer, Michael Sloan,
Oh.
is an old friend from Canada, where I'm from originally. I had done an Alfred Hitchcock for him. Yeah, Canadian?
Michele.
Hello? Is anybody voting?
Michele, an old friend.
An old friend, yes, Michael Sloan, a producer. I did Hitchcock for him. Yeah, really. And
I can vouch
so
for
he
Michael.
called me up and he said, how would you like to do a Kung Fu? That's how that came about.
Well, Gary, I can vouch for Michael's sanity, so it's... Okay, and question for...
Who can vouch for mine?
No
Not a
one.
man here.
That's not known.
Mr. Ron Fassler, ladies and gentlemen.
Ron is the one that organized this, and he went to the wrong hotel.
You're kidding.
That's my question. Did anybody else go to the wrong hotel except me? No?
I would have given you
I
a ride.
am an actor who can take direction, but not
Not direction.
directions like that.
Just
Right.
not road direction.
Exactly. Hello, everybody.
Hi, hon.
Okay.
What did I miss? Anything good?
I don't know, but
These guys are kind
just
of
talk for a while until you end up.
Introduce yourself.
Tell us
I-
what you've done.
This is Ron Fassler.
Ron Fassler.
I'll introduce him. What the heck?
Tell us what you've done, Ron.
Tell us what you've done.
Besides playing Captain Grazer on
Yeah.
Alien Nation, now. You're going to find I'm such a nice guy in real life. No, I mean, are you really interested?
No.
Yeah, we all had to go through this.
This
you can
is
see
what I
what
put
we
up
have to
with
put up with on this set.
on a daily basis.
I play mother hen to this.
That's what I put up with. Let's see. I have a number of commercials that are paying me more money than Alien Nation pays me at the moment, that are running, which is great. And I just had a very exciting morning with my 2 children. I'm the father of 2 children. And they keep me very busy. And that's why I do commercials, so I can afford to send them to schools. And I have absolutely nothing coming up except the next Alien Nation movie, which I'm happy to say is the biggest part I've ever had. And didn't I do well, guys?
Yeah, very well, very well.
You're really going to love Millennium. Did they just throw another thing at me? You missed that one. You really will love Millennium. It is, I think, just the most extraordinary one that Ken Johnson's written, and it's turned out beautifully. We all saw it about 2 weeks ago. And do we know when that's going to air, gang?
Maybe February. I think Sweet Week. Is that one? Maybe February.
Yeah. So I'm going to catch my breath and turn this over to somebody else. Are we taking questions?
We're taking
Yes,
questions.
we're taking questions. Hello.
Hello. One of the things that Alien Nation tried to do was help people look at their attitudes and prejudices about each other. And I wondered if the experience of working on the program had influenced you in your personal lives as to how you looked at people and what you thought about them.
Yeah.
Well, I have more tolerance for these people. That's what it taught me. But seriously, folks.
Yeah. You can't do this show without thinking about that while you're doing it, because that's what the show is about. I don't think we ever really lose sight of that. Once you're in the head, you change.
This is vernacular for putting on the makeup.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Gary's what we call shake and bake. He comes in the morning, shakes himself, and then he goes to the set, and that's it. We've been there since like 3 o'clock in the morning. I think that what I get from response from other people coming in and looking at me, and especially if they're a member of an ethnic minority, is that there is an amazing connection that happens and a curiosity that works both ways. It's bizarre and very profound to me, and it's something that is. You look at someone's heart. You look and see what the essence of the person is, and you feel what the essence of the person is, and get over looking at what is represented by what they look like. And I think that rubs off on you. And I know it affects me, and it loosens me up, and it takes down my guard so that I receive more. And I find that when you receive more, other people are more willing to receive too. And it just keeps going back and forth that way. You almost cease to become surrounded by fences, and you just become part of the human race or human Tinctonese race or whatever, but you become
more individuals rather than a group.
You are not a thing. You're not, yeah, exactly. You're not a class, you're not a thing, you're not whatever. It's that ideally is the way we want everything to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that it works out that way in real life, obviously. Especially the events of the last year or 2 years.
Yeah.
I've found it interesting to see how subjective what people find attractive or appealing or even what they can tolerate. We were shooting a scene for Millennium downtown, my daughter and I, Lauren Woodland, who plays my daughter. And somebody walked by, just before a take, a businessman, African American, and said, boy, you people are ugly. Now, I can look in the mirror with my head on and think, okay, I look good today, or I don't look as Susan. And I kind of understand people who can't watch the show because they just find it a little too odd. But to go out of your way to say to somebody, now, he probably thought he was kidding, it was just a joke. But, besides the actor and me going, well, God, I better check the mirror, just to make sure I have my makeup on, whatever. To be confronted with that, and as a white, attractive female, you certainly don't get that kind of, you get other kinds of subjective reactions that are generally accepted as positive in this society. But to get that kind of reaction, which I'm sure ethnic minorities or any kind of minority receives, not necessarily on a regular basis, but, it becomes part of their lives. It was something to deal with, a slap in the face. Lauren and I both looked at each other, and I turned around and said, "Oh, you bigot," But it was hard to take, for the time. Of course, he's an idiot. I don't know what to say.
Touchy.
I had an incident that happened to me this last time where I was smacked in the side of the head by this.
I read about that.
Oh, yeah.
And called a cracker.
A cracker.
And it was bizarre because, he was, it's like a 14-year-old gangbanger, whatever, walking up and down the sidewalk. And he was looking for trouble. He was looking to count coup. And as he went by, he blindsided me in the side of the head. And then I kind of lit up and went after him. And then it became this whole thing. And
security guard pulls Eric off this frightened kid whom he was about to demolish, talking about how he's going to go and bring his brothers back there and shoot him.
But
it was an incident.
It was something that, here, this kid is just doing, he's a troubled, messed up kid, right? But just on the basis of something unique. And it's not that he's going to go smack the alien. It's just...
he's showing off.
He's showing off. But like Michele, I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, you are ugly," and they get pretty much hustled off. But once they stop, and once they get it, they're okay. But they have to stop and get it,
Mm-hmm. The moral is just don't slap Eric upside the head.
That's what he's saying.
That's what I learned from it, because I was standing there when it happened. You wouldn't want to do that. With his head or without his head. Something funny about the heads, though, is that, Gary and I are the only two on the show that don't wear the heads, which means that we get later call times and get to leave earlier, as you can imagine. But the funny part is that
we don't get paid as much.
That's right.
Now that's funny.
That's the funny part.
Not true, but
it's not
funny.
True.
That the moral is to quit while you're ahead. Anyway, I think that he's going back to his newspaper now. The fact is that I can go for literally the entire life. When we did the series for the full season, I never saw Eric out of his makeup. Because he was always in his makeup by the time I got there, and I always left before him. And I still do double takes when I see him. I think of him as George, do you know?
So do I.
There you go. Yeah, well, got the scars to prove it.
I have just one more quick sort of a request. Since you are, in fact, going to be doing more Alienation movies, and maybe someday we'll get lucky and it'll come back as a series, you might suggest to the writers and to Mr. Johnson that you consider the theme of what happened to our space program when the Tenchinese arrived, since we're having so much problems keeping it going right now.
It's a great idea.
I think that would be an interesting theme.
Yeah, it's a great area to explore.
Yeah, we quit going up there. They came to us.
That's right.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to tell you how much I enjoyed you doing your first run. It was so wonderful, especially when George got pregnant. Almost every woman I know that had kids just adored that.
Stand up and show them. He's got his body back. He's been working out. He's got his body back.
No stretch marks.
And Michelle, I also really liked the performance you did when you were Data's main squeeze on The Next Generation.
Thank you.
And you all worked so well together that first season. When you came back for the movie, it seems like you all just sort of dovetailed right in where you left off. It's almost like no time passed. What was that first day really like for you?
On Dark Horizon, I guess, huh?
Yes.
It felt like that. It
Exactly
was weird.
like that.
It felt like 5 years? No. We just went right back into it. Of course, we had all grown up a little bit. People do sometimes. Which I told Ken Johnson. I said, it's interesting. We're kind of picking up, and we all kind of matured into the parts in our minds in a way. And Kenny said, "Oh, I haven't." Kenny is perpetually about 12 years old. Comic books in his head. He's our producer, and of course created Incredible Hulk and Bionic Woman and V, a whole bunch of things. And thank God Kenny doesn't grow up.
It's to get a phone call after all those years that they're actually going to do something. You go through levels of denial.
Well, there was also a couple of phone calls. It wasn't just one.
It's like, maybe.
We must have gotten about 10 phone calls
Yeah.
to the 10th one that said we are going to work.
But I think that the main thing was, were we going to be able to hit a rhythm that made sense since it was 5 years later? And I think, I don't know about anybody else, but I assume that we all kind of got back on, put all the old tapes in the VCR and said, okay, let's get back and see what this is.
Who were we?
And at first, it's not really organic. You try for it until you kind of break into it, and then you start reliving the characters. It starts out up here, and then it kind of drops down, and then you finally find yourself back in stride. And after you've been away for something for a while, that's what it feels like to me. I don't know what it feels like.
Kenny
Let Albert speak.
Kenny actually called me after the first table reading because he was very concerned that I forgot who Albert was. But in reality, do you know that?
No.
Yeah.
How could you forget?
I can't do Albert without the head on. So at the table readings, he was very confused because I kept giggling and cutting up. But
Well, we were all quite
We were all so
concerned
mercilessly
about that. We were a little
teasing you.
scared about that table reading.
Yeah. But anyway, for me, I put the head on and he comes. I like channel. Channeling Albert. That should be one of the names of the new movies.
Channeling Albert. Oh my God.
The Albert Channel.
My children think the next one is called Grazer Forever. They say, when are you starting Grazer Forever?
Wonder where they got that idea.
There was no title for the next one. I thought that was a very hopeful, optimistic title. But it was very odd to start again because it was 5 years later, and we were all 5 years older. Well, the women were only about 2 years older. But
Younger. 2 years
true.
younger, honey.
And the movie took place, as you know, 1 day later. So it really was very odd, especially that Lauren had shot up the way she did. But something? But I want to say something about that you probably wouldn't know. It's my belief that any other producer-director would have recast the role with a younger actress. But Kenny would never, it wouldn't have even crossed his mind because he wanted to have the group back together again. It was that important to him. And his feeling was, well, just throw the head on her and, we'll use her. Because it really was, and this really is the truth, it really was a family. We all really do genuinely like one another, and it really is a pleasure to work. All of us work on other shows, other movies, plays, and there's something that's very special going on the Alienation set. In fact, it's contagious because the guest stars all fit in as well. We only had one person, and everybody knows who it is, who was not a lot of fun to have around this time, and boy, you really felt it. You really did, because we all really do get along.
Later.
They all know. You haven't seen
you'll
the
never get
movie
it
yet.
from us.
It's in Millennium.
But
But anyway. No. I'm not gonna.
I never worked.
No, I didn't work with him either.
Me? Neither.
I just heard.
And finally I'd like to say, please express to the creative forces of alienation as being ethnically challenged as I am. And always people say, oh, you speak English so well, you know, how long have you been in this country? Well, I'm a third generation Californian. And it's nice that it gave people something to look at and say, hey, you know, let's think this out. And I really appreciate that. And please express my gratitude to the creative forces of
thank you. We will. And
Definitely. Thank you.
I'm also, bless your heart, and I'm also ethnically challenged myself. I'm Irish. And a couple of the Irish. Look at the Irish. We'll tip a bottle of Guinness later. But you know, in fact, I would like to be heretofore referred to as Irish American when referring to me.
I never knew you were Irish, Gary, but it explains a lot.
Doesn't
It
it
does
though?
a lot. Oh, who's after me, Lucky Charms? Okay.
Kathy's after his Lucky Charms.
Hi. During the blooper reel that we saw on Friday, there was a particular scene, specifically the naked badge scene.
Oh, God.
And in the naked badge scene, there was
you asking Ron to recreate this scene?
Yes, there was a
Would you
large
get up on the
fleshy
table, Ron,
protuberance dangling from the badge.
As soon as you said, we saw the blooper reel party, I went, oh my God, I hope it's not that blooper reel.
Yeah, that was the one.
I have a story to tell you
Some people
about
think that was fake, too.
That's all Ron.
I told him to get a bigger
If
badge.
that's the case,
We
whose
call
idea
him
was it to...
tripod.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
That was the idea of our prop man. Prop men on most sets have those in their arsenal. They're just part of a prop man's job to always have one of those.
Doesn't everybody?
That's right. And he said, you want to do this? And I was totally game because I was very nervous I was just about naked behind that badge. And I was wearing full body makeup, and but that was fun to have it applied. But thank goodness they printed that one particular take. So I don't have a copy of it, but it's probably best my children don't get a hands on it. So it works out okay.
I had an incident with that blooper reel. I had this roofer working on my roof, and as part of payment, he suggested, would I come down and talk to his youth group about alienation in Hollywood and the acting business and all that? And I thought, all right, okay, save me a little money here. Sounds good. So I thought, well, what can I do? Well, I'll take him the gag reel, let him watch that. I didn't realize what was on it. I forgot. All right. Now, not only was it a youth group, it was a Mormon.
Hello. Next. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Yay, Aaron.
Eric, you're going straight to hell. I'm going to say.
At what point do you run screaming for the television and say, and say, I had no idea when. And so I just sat there frozen for 20 minutes while this thing played out. And it seemed like every other word I heard was the F word. And there was like genitals all over the place, It's just like my worst nightmare. And finally, I just kind of get up and I get the tape out of the VCR, and these kids and their parents and everything are sitting there. And before I had a chance to apologize, just stone silent. And the roofer goes up to the front and he says, well, I'm sure had Eric known that these things were on the tape, he never would have brought it. Why don't we go to questions?
It could have been worse. It could have been the Dark Knight blooper reel.
The Dark Horizon?
What's that?
Dark Knight is another series.
Oh, was that worse? Oh,
that was worse. Really? It was worse. Thank you for answering my question.
I have a question to Michele. Mm-hmm. I understand you're from Canada, right?
Yes, I am. Montreal.
Why?
It's Canadianly challenged.
It's still Canada, yes.
I just went to a convention in Canada.
Oh, where?
Yeah, Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
It was Toronto Trek. I went there for the Kung Fu series. And a lot of the actors don't like to work in LA or live in LA. And since you're from Canada, how do you feel about working and living around here?
Well, I could get into a long, elaborate discussion about the virtues of working in Canada versus the States, but I won't. There's just there's a point where you can't go further in Canada. You cannot. Well, at least when I decided to come down here, there's just so many guest starring roles you can do, and at some point I wanted to break into the business down here. So that's why I came down.
Do you find LA okay to live in?
It's got its pluses and its
Yeah.
negatives, well, as we all know, you know. Obviously the weather, and I don't know if this is superficial or what, but the weather in Canada really is stressful. There's just so much, you know, the constant snow and the temperature and battling with all the winter coats and all of that. I love living down here, especially for that.
They have a really
Was
good
it-
national anthem.
Do we?
I like the sound.
Oh, thank you, dear.
What was the first trip there? It was a lovely country. I went there in August, so it was very nice. Gary, I have a question. I went to the Alienation Convention a few years back when it was in the series, and I understand you were getting married at the time.
Yeah.
You're married, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious. How do you like married life?
Does he have to answer that?
Not a trick question, Gary. Just answer it.
Oh, that's what you think.
I like it. I like being married. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a bed of roses, but it's tough.
He loves
tough.
it. He's lying.
It's tough. No, she's not in the room, so it's
good.
It's hell.
Then you can go.
It's just hell. No, it's tough like any relationship, but I do like being in the confines of the commitment of marriage. You know, we have a little daughter, and building for the future and building a history with somebody, and it's the cornerstone of society. The
Do you want to
family.
tell them to look for her in Millennium, Gary?
Oh yeah, my wife is even in Millennium.
Tell them her name.
She plays a girl named Polly Wannacracker. She's an alien, and basically, I think
that's how you met her.
I save her life, don't I? Or
That's how
we
you met her.
save her life.
Yeah. You met.
I met her. I met her
When she
on the
was an
show.
alien.
The third year, we just got the series, just did the pilot, and got the series, got the order for 12, and I just bought a new house in the Hollywood Hills, and looking forward to being the Hollywood horn dog. Okay, he's got a series in his house in the hills, and his Porsche. He's gonna okay. And I meet this girl 3 days into it. And we've been together ever since. It's just been everything my heart could ever imagine. It's been great. And her name's Suzanne Lavelle Graham, and she's wonderful.
Quite beautiful.
She's spunky.
She's a fireball.
But Gary, what? You had 43, 44 years as a bachelor, so
50. Whoa.
Just kidding.
Let's see. You do the math.
And she just got her driver's license, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Excuse me, come on. Her learner's permit. Okay. She can buy cigarettes. Come on.
Thank you.
See how much we like each other.
First of all, I came late, so if this has already been covered, I apologize. It seems to me when the series was on that each episode focused on prejudice in one form or another. And I just wonder whether or not you think that's why the series was canceled, because America doesn't like a mirror being held up to itself.
Good question. I don't think that's why it was canceled. I think that we've been praised since then for it.
And also during. We had some wonderful,
we had some wonderful response.
Reviews.
I think that what it was, the cancellation really was dollars and cents and lack of forward thinking by certain.
But not only that, they really didn't get the show.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't they ask us to blow up more cars? And they really wanted it to be a cop show. That element that you liked so much, that we all liked so much, the racial prejudice aspect, dealing with America's newest minority group, that was a little bit lost on the executives.
A couple of them, yeah, the main one.
They didn't quite get it.
Part of the problem also, from what I've heard from after the fact, was the demographics on the show. The groups that watched it were so spread out that they didn't really know or who to pitch the show to. And that might be a problem with science fiction, as a whole.
Yeah, and
but when you're talking about, a network looking to market, especially Fox likes to know exactly, who they're going after, it becomes a problem. So that
it was
one of the
a
aspects.
dollar and cents decision as well. It was at a time when Married with Children was popular for 3 years, and they sort of looked back and said, gee, we're getting a real good return for very little cash outlay on the half-hour comedy show, and the hour drama shows, they're just not holding the same kind of ratings. We were being put up against Married with Children's ratings, which were, quite high. And,
They
as
canceled
so many,
most of the dramas, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
They did.
all the
About
1
everyone.
hours that.
And a lot of shows, they need time to build their audiences, as we were doing steadily, and as X-Files has done, shows like that, and Star Trek and all that.
I mean, had they had the forward thinking that Eric was talking about, we'd have 5-6 years worth of shows, and they'd be making a lot of money in syndication. So they did make a mistake. I think that's kind of proven with them asking us to do more and more
plot
movies.
on Forest Lawn.
That's right.
I was very shocked at the episode where you did the one with the parallel to the Nazi war crime, the war criminal, and you had to decide what you were going to do with them. How many people, because I was really taken with that particular episode, and I was running around telling everybody about it, how many people just didn't see it, that's not what they took out of it. They didn't get the message, they didn't hear the story, and I just wondered if that was why so many people were lost, that they just didn't understand.
When you're a low-rated show, you got like 7 million people watching. It's still so many people. It's, you saw it. There's so many people that did.
Which episode are you talking about?
Night of the Scream, she means. The one with the Halloween, with the
I thought you
Wiesenthal
were
character.
talking about
Yes.
Body and Soul or something.
No, the
No,
Simon
no.
Wilson.
Well, you know what's going on now? They're getting it.
I'm sorry?
They're getting it now.
Now.
Yeah.
Sure.
They are, we had something like 25 critical responses from papers around the country who basically blasted Fox for canceling this. I mean, they're on the bandwagon again. And part of that is because of the popularity of science fiction, but mainly it's because of what the show was about, exactly what you're talking about. And now we're being praised for it. So if they can hitch their wagon to that, they'll be successful, I think.
Well, please tell them there's a lot of us that never get rated who would really love to have the show come back.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, who does have those boxes anyway?
Yeah, does anybody, let me see a show of hands. Anybody know a Nielsen family?
I
Oh, somebody knows.
Two?
Yep, 2 people
Where?
here.
2 people.
Wow.
Okay, we
Great
want
show.
names and addresses.
I'll tell you something funny. Tonight at 8 o'clock, CBS is broadcasting the new version of Streetcar Named Desire with Jessica Lange, and my friend produced it. And I spoke to him just last night, and he said, you're going to watch it? I said, of course I'm going to watch it. He said, could you watch it with the Nielsen family? So, we should talk. Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you all how much I appreciate your work. I think it's fabulous.
Thank you.
It's really something. I'm glad there's going to be more of it. I wanted to ask Gary what he thought about the pairing, finally, of Sikes with the character of Kathy, and if they're going to continue that in the other shows coming up.
Well, yeah, yes, I did enjoy, I love working with Terry Treese. She's a wonderful woman and a consummate professional, and it's a joy to go to work. She's a terrific actress. And I assume we haven't really gotten into the next 3 storylines, but I would assume that our relationship will blossom and take it to the next step. And as you know, Sikes is a confirmed Catholic, or a recovering Catholic, but still he's subject to the social religious dogmas, and he would want to do the right thing after a while. His guilt conscience would eventually want to push him into marriage, and Kathy, being the progressive Tanctonese, would probably say, well, why? What? Matt, are you thinking about seeing someone else? So who knows? I would think wedding bells would be for the future, but we just say the words. We don't write them.
That's right. Thank you.
One thing I want to say is, for years and years I've been hearing that you can't do science fiction on television, even though there was a Twilight Zone. Your series was conceived, I think, in many ways with the idea that you had a budget. I mean, all you needed was makeup and some weird sets, mostly. But now we got video toasters and that sort of stuff. And I hope that you take advantage of it more, because I'd like to see something visual. Even though I love the morality stories, I would like to see more visuals. I'd like to see more of the environments that you couldn't do without CGI or video toasters.
Well, just wait.
I think we have a few interesting things in Millennium you'll be happy with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'll love Millennium. Video toasters.
It's a thing.
They all know Millennium takes place on the final days of 1999. That's the...
Yeah, it's the turn of the century.
If Sikes and Kathy's relationship does continue on to the next step and they do decide to have a baby, can they and will they need Albert's help?
Albert, you want to take this one?
Albert,
Jeff,
you keep your mitts off my girlfriend, buddy.
They
You killed
touched
this
on
one,
the
Albert.
interbreeding thing
Yeah,
on the last show.
Yeah, Albert's a bim bomb.
No, he's
Binom.
He's a guy, it takes two to tango or three to tango, and yeah, there was talk about such an event, and you should be in on the writing sessions. I'm
Actually, the one thing that we did hear about that may happen, I'm not sure if it will, but Albert and May Onay's want to have a baby, and they go to George. And Susan is like, wait just a minute. They may have the chance to do that now that we got 3 coming up. Spread out those supporting characters, give them more to do.
Jeff, did you have any...
To explore human jealousy.
Oh, can I talk too? I'm sorry.
Please,
Is this on?
Mr. Jeff Marcus, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, Millennium was supposed to be that script, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Until the
supposed to have
network
that
said that they
aspect
wanted
of it.
more crashes and explosions. and
Plus,
things.
Jeff was asking for too much money.
That's it.
Again.
Well, I deserve it. Who asked the question? Where'd they go?
She's gone. She's
Oh,
not
there
gone.
you
She's
are.
tired. Why don't you stand?
But yes, they would, because anytime an alien woman wants to bear a child with a man, she has to be catalyzed.
It will be different if it's human. Then we're talking about a hybrid, which is what they were talking about in Dark Horizon. So
Hell, if it's human, we might need to.
they
have
might
Albert
just
help
adopt
Gary.
Albert. They could adopt Albert. That's another choice. Something they might do.
I have to make a comparison to MASH from a TV show that became much more popular in the movie. How did the concept of taking the movie into the TV show go? How did that work out? And how did...
That's really a question for Ken Johnson. They approached him because he really is great at doing that. He's past proven. I think I think the series is much better than the movie. I think the movie. The movie has a terrific sci-fi base, but then it doesn't run with it. It just it falls apart. It becomes a movie about 2 cops running around. We took the issue of exploring the newest minority group in America, and that's what Kenny brought to it. It's an issue he feels very strongly about. He could look at this. We've got a booklet here. Look at that, Gary and Eric.
Is that
Let's
amazing?
play show and tell.
That's so cool.
Where
Wait a
did
minute.
you get that?
Who's on the back flap? Is that James Caan on the back?
It's the old guys.
Oh, fair. This is a very famous publicity poster. It's hanging up at the Lieberman Hirschfeld casting office.
Neat. You look bored on the show.
Oh, wow. It's got all the episodes, who was in them, and what they were about. That'll refresh my memory. Oh, you want to hear something funny? I was looking at the old tapes before we went back to work, and I realized that I acted with Angela Bassett, who's become a huge star. I didn't know. She was in
Lori
one
Petty.
of the episodes.
Was it Lori Petty?
Yeah. I didn't know. I mean...
We launched several careers, I think.
I just didn't know. It really blew me away. She's such a good actress, and she was just okay on our show. She wasn't, Who knew? Who knew she'd be an Oscar-nominated actress, There's hope for all of us.
You were mentioning about the Nielsen ratings, and my sister is a Nielsen family. She is a single white female that runs her own business. The only problem is they come in and they interview. They take a shot every couple of hours to see what they're watching. She videotapes everything, so they get to find out what her kooky roommates are watching. And she has some really spaced out roommates, so I don't even know if they'd even watch shows like this.
Really spaced out roommates? They might watch a show.
No, no, not that high
They're
a caliber.
watching all of the talk shows, that sort
Oprah.
of stuff.
So
Well, they've got to
does
figure out.
Nielsen.
They've got to get sophisticated and figure out a way to
Yeah,
to
it's
know
an
who's
absurd
taping what.
system.
You know, it's not fair.
Maybe
to,
we could give Susan Francisco a talk show.
There you go.
Hey! Brilliant. Get Kenny on the phone. Let's do it.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Does
Doing
everybody
what she
know?
does best.
Does everybody know how many Nielsen families there are?
I think there's 1,000.
It's an absurd
It's like
system,
2,000.
really.
It's like something like that.
Really?
That's
it.
Wow.
For
It's supposed
200
to be
million
this,
people, you
it's
know.
supposed to be this brilliant cross-section, this scientific cross-section, but obviously we've just found out it's
It's not.
one single woman and her wacky roommate. So that's wonderful.
It is. I make my sister watch Star Trek when I'm over
There
at
you
her
go.
house.
Well, do you remember the joke? It was an episode of Mary Hartman. This is going back many years, but on that show, she got institutionalized. And in the scene where she's like just literally, you know, drugged out and she's sitting in front of the television and they say, "We're so happy you could join our family." And she says, "Well, it's nice to be here." She said, "No, you don't understand. We're a Nielsen family."
No, my question was, for the people who have recognizable faces, have you had any interesting stories about getting recognized in public or in airports?
You can't go into an airport with Gary. I found that out.
Well, if Eric goes in an airport with his head on, they always think he's a Hare Krishna. But seriously, folks.
I actually, Gary, you talk.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that, though.
No, I've gone through an airport with Gary before, where, during the series or slightly just after it or whatever, and everybody goes up to him and, you know, and I'm like carrying the bag.
This is Eric Pierpoint. He's also in the series.
Oh, what do you play? Oh, I was in the islands for vacation this summer, and there was a, you know, like a dinner area. Went and sat down at a table with, I think, 6 young women from the Bronx, and after a while, one of them looks at me and says, "Oh my God, you're the guy. You're the guy." And I said, "Oh, you know, talking about what would she be talking about? She can't possibly recognize me as, you know." Well, it turned out it was a series, the Hot Pursuit series that she'd seen like, or her sister had seen like 12 years ago or something. But then, right about 10 minutes later, the table next to us, this guy stands up and says, "Oh God, you're that guy."
Eric, you should.
And I'm in the island, I'm in the Caribbean. I'm thinking, how the heck is it? You know, I'm like, I've just got done scuba diving. I'm like, you know, whatever. And he says, "Hey, you're George." And I thought, man, you watch a lot of TV. Because how do you, I mean, how do you really know? Oh, I could just tell. I don't. I
You
mean,
sure they
he's-
weren't saying, "You're the guy"? You're the guy. You're the guy.
You're the guy.
Hey.
Getting late, folks.
I feel they should have a Nielsen family in Canada because they aren't listening to us up in Canada. And we're
I'm
always
sorry, I
behind
can't hear
you.
you.
I said they should have a Nielsen family from Canada that will tell them what to do. My question is for Michele. Did you find when I first saw you in Airwolf 2. It's a long time ago.
Oh,
wasn't it?
thank you for keep watching.
And I was wondering, when you first came down here, did you find it was harder being a Canadian or was there no difference at all?
I think you come down here and you put in your time. You feel like you're in the audition business. It took me about 6 months. I didn't find it that difficult. I wasn't starting at the bottom. I didn't have a lot of illusions about the business. I had a bit of a track record. I had a lot of credit. So, no, it wasn't terribly difficult.
Did you enjoy working with Barry Van Dyke?
It wasn't terribly difficult.
What you call a
No,
backhanded compliment.
Barry was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Very good.
We've been reading that in casts, people sort of take roles as their own selves. And Michele mentioned that she played the mother hen. What roles do you all play as the cast? to yourselves, you know, interacting among the real people rather than the characters.
Right.
I'd like to tackle that question if I may.
Go right ahead.
What was the question?
Nice.
You would be.
I'm the goofball,
Yeah.
I guess.
Jeff is a lot smarter than Albert. I mean, Jeff finished 7th grade, I think, and Albert didn't.
Didn't.
So.
I become like the class clown there, don't I?
Yes.
Sort of. Or the pet dog.
Ron's the stand-up comic.
See, but you wouldn't know that from Captain Grazer. He's not a very funny character.
Michelle's
I'm
the
hilarious.
sex symbol of the cast.
Oh, no,
We
Kathy.
all long
Kathy's-
for Michelle.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we
News
just don't
to
know
me.
it. We don't. What's because we don't tell you about it.
Oh, I see. Well, no, Kathy.
No, Kathy's like a tomboy. She's like your sister.
Terry. Terry. So I'm the sex symbol?
You're the sex symbol.
That's it?
And
Eric,
hey,
don't you?
that's not bad. Eric's the handsome leading man, sensitive.
No,
and
Eric's
man
like
of the night.
grandfather. Everyone goes to him for advice and counsel.
That's true. He is. He's the shrink.
I don't know. I just have this fan blowing in my face all the time, and we just have a great time. I think we all kind of change roles once in a while. Just anything to keep laughing, because the laughter on the set is kind of what feeds the energy. And if we can't laugh, then
we feel what it feels like to be encased in plastic.
Yes. Then just keep moving. You know.
And nobody tells worse jokes than Ken Johnson. I mean, he's just
Oh, and you gotta laugh.
they're the
you know.
most
He's
groaners, just complete and total groaners. But it's a lot of fun. You know, I guess Eric mentioned Hot Pursuit, which was a series he did for Ken Johnson some years back, and I don't know if anybody else here. Does anybody know that Jeff Marcus and I were in a movie that Ken Johnson directed?
No.
See, nobody even ever
Was
saw
that
it.
Senior Trip?
It was Senior Trip.
Really?
Yeah, look at it in your video stores. I understand.
They're remaking that. The remake of Senior Trip. I think they are. You're not in it.
No.
Story
Senior
of my life.
citizen
Senior's trip?
You're the teacher this time. Were you
But
the
Jeff
teacher
and I did this movie. It was back in 1981, and that's how we met. And we stayed very good friends. And when it came time for Alienation, I had heard that Kenny had written a role in it for Jeff. Nobody auditioned for the role of Albert. It was written for Jeff. And he is Albert. I mean, you know, he's fabulous.
Really?
I didn't know
See,
that.
he really is my old friend. So, I had another actor who was in Senior Trip, left the acting business and became an agent. And he wasn't even my agent, but he called me up and he said, you know, Ken Johnson's doing a new series called Alienation based on the movie, and you should get seen on it. There's a part for you. And then, like, a couple of days later, Jeff called and said, I'm going to be on this series Alienation. I said, oh my God. I said, well, I hear there's a part that I might be right for. And Jeff said, no, there isn't. And, I got my hands on the script, and I didn't, you know, I just walked into the audition, and there was Ken, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and, you know, he hugged me, and then I read, and I read again, and I read again. No, he put me through the process. You know, you have to, except for Jeff. And Eric, did you audition, or did he write
No,
the part for you?
He called me.
There you go.
I was the first one he called.
There you go. Oh, Eric was the first one.
Did you audition, Gary?
I did, actually.
Gary beat out like 200
Charles
guys.
Nelson Riley, I think.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. Dom DeLuise was one.
And Paul Lynn. No, I did the hi, how you doing? And met Kenny and got a call back, and then went back again for the act off. They have like 7 actors in there.
Yeah, it really was only 2 auditions.
It was, but
Yeah.
it was pretty nerve-wracking.
It was.
5 guys, trying to make small talk when, they take you one at a time, and then a couple of us went back yet another time, and they let the other guys go down to the final act off. So.
Did you read with Eric?
No, I didn't. With Kenny.
First time I saw Gary was when I was in makeup doing the makeup test, and we went down to the train station to see what it was like to walk around dressed up like an alien. And oh my God, that man has burns all over his head.
My audition was interesting. I walked in and thought I'd be reading.
Stop
Let's
it.
see. Ken Johnson, writer, director, executive producer. But what I really want to do is act. gets up and wants to do the scene with me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And it was if you remember the pilot, it was a scene where I'm humming. Humming, and they don't give you much direction in the script. You got to kind of come up with humming on your own. So I had to hum up his arm, and he kept saying higher, higher. So I changed the pitch, And then I got called back, and then I had to go in and do this with Kenny in front of the suits, which is what we call the guys at Fox in their suits. A room full of tittering, giggling executives. And I've got to keep a straight face and hum. So it was a lot of fun.
We got time for one last question.
I was just musing about some of Matt's future problems and thinking that if he did marry Kathy, since he's Catholic and she has her own religion, and they did have a child, would you have to have a baptism and a mukti booty, or how would you handle?
There's that word again, mukti booty. What is a mukti booty?
How would you
Yeah.
handle the upbringing or whatever?
Well, I imagine people go through this, when a Jew marries a Christian and a Christian marries
Usually
a Buddhist.
somebody's forced
and
to convert.
There's some kind of,
That's
some kind of compromise, if compromise is possible, and I have no idea.
We could probably spread the planning of that wedding over the whole 3 movies.
There's
enough material there, that's for sure.
And who's going to do the
All right, they're giving us the hook.
catering
They're giving us the hook, folks.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
I
There's
think
only
we've got
one other
time for
question.
gentlemen. Is
One more question.
We got time for
Ethan's standing there.
Go for it.
Thank you. You've all been great.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you very much for coming. I really, forgive me, wasn't very much of a fan of the series, but upon seeing the films, it very much sparked my interest. And
You can have every episode of the series from me, $12.95 per episode. See me after the show.
I may take you up on that, maybe. But you all seem to work very well together, and you seem very comfortable, and I just admire that ability. So thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I know.
Okay, quick announcement. Most of our people here, most of our guests here will be staying for autographs. Is that correct? Okay, so word of warning. If you want autographs, please go outside the double doors, go way outside the double doors, come around the building to the patio, and that's where the line has already begun to start. Please give a big hand to our guests. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
There's a green room with lots of food. Oh, there's
And we'll see you at our next panel starting in a few minutes.